Hey, for Monday, November 2nd, 2020. This is the Pro and Con Show, and I'm your host, Michael James Ott. So the purpose of the show, encourage us to be better citizens, all right? This is the second to the last show. I committed about 2 years ago, I think, to try to do one of these shows, 10 to 20 minutes every day. Encouraging us to be better citizens, to look at these things from a larger perspective, the issues that are before us. Hence the name of the show, the Pro and Con Show. Because the reality is that the major issues before us, regardless of what they are, climate change, the pandemic itself, and how we go forward and resolve ultimately the issues in our country and around the world with the pandemic, for example, and climate change, whatever the things are, okay, gun violence, abortion. These issues are really important issues, and rather than taking sides and politicizing everything, for example, in the pandemic, politicizing wearing masks, really? Anyway, rather than politicizing everything and effectively just literally and figuratively killing us and our society, we need to stop it. We need to get rid of the influence of the two political parties and all the propaganda associated with them and their agents, and just say, screw you, we're not listening anymore. We're done with that. We're going to go forward with a different thing. And that's the Citizen Statesman Initiative, where we fill that great government structure that the Constitution talks about, but is totally mute on how we fill it with the people that go in there. And in hindsight, that was a mistake by the folks that wrote the Constitution. There should have been some discussion about how to get the best candidates into that structure, and maybe they just couldn't figure it out. I don't know. But anyway, today's show, again, second to the last, is the future. So now it's the second to the last show for me. I'll not be doing these Pro and Con shows anymore after the next show. And so what am I going to be doing? Well, I'm 59 years old. I'll be 60 years old next June. And I'm divorced once, going to be divorced again here soon. And I'm just going to focus the last amount of time in my life, I know, based on the other people in my family. There's a fairly good chance I'll live to be at least 80, maybe 90, based on the other people in my family, and my own, health up to this point has been fairly good. So, I got another 20 to 30 years on this planet. And so what I intend to do is to do what I can. So I've done this show, but now it's time to look at the major things, and the biggest one, the two biggest ones actually, Citizen Statesman and climate change. These are the two things that, one, they will have a massive impact on the planet forevermore if we can address them, okay? And so I'm going to spend the next 20 to 30 years talking to people, talking to different organizations. Now, mind you, I'm not going to form the Michael James Ott Memorial Fund for these things. This is one of the things that just drives me crazy. And folks, if you're out there and you've got a little bit of money, and when you die or you decide that you're going to, be a philanthropist or whatever, come on. You don't need to have your name on some fund, some society, some whatever. Stop it, okay? There's 8 billion of us on the planet. and we're never going to get as much done if we're constantly worrying about having brass plaques or some kind of uh, historical thing that our name is on. Okay, we need to move beyond that. We need to join forces. For example, climate control. We need to join forces, and who cares what it's named? We need to join forces and work to influence people, not only in the United States of America, but around the world, that climate change needs to be addressed. And in fact, as I've said in past shows, if we're really going to address it, we need to, as a world entity, we need to commit, I don't know, $1 trillion to building these CO2 gas recycling plants that will extract it from the air and turn it into something. And there seems to be, technologies that are growing in their capability to basically turn that back into fossil fuels. And we can choose to either pump it back into the ground where it came from, or to keep recycling that through our cars as we transition away from fossil fuels. So those factories, those carbon dioxide recycling factories, don't have to be around forever, because fossil fuels are not going to be around forever. Okay? Even recycling them, they're not going to be around forever. So this is a critical point. So climate change, and we're working on that. Citizen statesman, this is, again, filling that structure in democracy. And I guarantee you, and I'm not going to just work here in the United States. I'm going to be talking around the globe. Anyone that will listen to me, any society that's looking for improving democracy, improving governance of people around the world, I'm going to be talking to them. And this is not the Ott Statesman thing initiative. No, bullshit. It's us. We need to do this. Okay? We need to get rid of the political parties around the world, in fact, and really, I call it Democracy 2.0. I hope that's a term that people, pick up and start, reiterating around the world in their communications. We are at Democracy 1.0. We need Democracy 2.0, which is fill those structures, this check and balance with better people. And again, very similar to the jury duty system. So cast a wide net, get a bunch of potential candidates, a candidate pool, and then screen them. Okay, so randomly selected people, screen them based on their talents and capabilities, and insert them into the structure. And they serve the people for one term, and then they go home. This is what we should be doing. So beyond climate change and citizen statesmen, I'll be working again with any group that is willing to listen to me. I certainly will be listening to them. How do we address and mitigate and hopefully someday effectively eliminate systemic racism? So this is a big problem. Gun violence in this country, big problem. And of course the pandemic. I continue to do some volunteer work for this care facility. One of my major roles is to try to make sure that the coronavirus doesn't come through the front doors of that facility. So I help screen employees. I help sanitize and screen things that are coming in, shipments or whatever, with the intent of preventing coronavirus from being exposed to the residents in that facility. Again, those residents, because older, various health ailments and stuff like that, they're predisposed to having a significant bad outcome if they should be infected with the coronavirus. So those are the big 5 things. citizen statesmen, climate change, systemic racism, gun violence, and the pandemic itself. Okay, trying to do whatever I can for the next 20 or 30 years, volunteering, working, helping, mitigate, make better, those 5 things. That's my future. And I would encourage you, please, better citizens, join me. Join me. You know, I've said many times in the past, our definition of success is wrong. This accumulation of wealth, influence, and power, this is the wrong definition of success. And my life, I feel very fulfilled because I work on these things. And I'm going to work on them even more. Now this is basically going to be my full-time job. And now when I'm not able to be on the phone with somebody or in a conference talking about resolving these issues or bringing, excuse me, bringing them forward in a better way, I'll be working on Habitat for Humanity homes, volunteering to work on the homes themselves or in their recycling stores. I'll be volunteering, if they'll take me, into the Peace Corps to try to help people that are, localized people that are struggling with various challenges. Sometimes it's, starvation. Sometimes it's some kind of, parasites or some kind of economic rejuvenation or education or whatever. And then Wisconsin, it's been great being here in Wisconsin and Minnesota. I've spent a bunch of time in the 2 states over the last, since 2008, so the last 12 years. But it's time for me to fly. I'm going to go down to the Carolinas, and I'm not sure whether I'll end up in South Carolina or North Carolina, but it's time in my life to go down there. There's a nucleus of friends that I have from years past, and the weather is better, and the ability for me to live with less economic stress. So basically the housing and some taxes and stuff are going to be better for me. So to the Carolinas I go. Not quite sure when that move is going to happen, but soon, sometime in the next months, I'll be in the Carolinas doing all these things from wherever it is that I'm living in the Carolinas come whatever months from now. Okay, so one more show to go, the finale. So this is just my discussion about my personal future, and again, hoping that many of you won't join me in the Carolinas, but all those other things, climate change, systemic racism, citizen statesmen, gun violence, and working toward resolving and fixing the issues around the pandemic, and Habitat for Humanity and Peace Corps. I strongly encourage you all to try to follow me. Let's do it together. Okay. For the Pro and Con Show, this is Michael James Ott, and until the next show, bye for now.